Greetings viewers, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we've got another tool video. Specifically we're going to be talking about this new tool here, if it'll focus. New tool from Snap-on. This is a 17 mil super shallow, super narrow, deep well swivel half-inch drive impact socket. It is the BTCS1. It is made specifically for Subaru brake caliper bracket bolts. You may be thinking to yourself, why in the world is there a specialty tool for Subaru brake caliper bracket bolts? Well, they're kind of hard to get at due to the front strut bolt and nut, the camber bolt. The head of them kind of protrude over where the brake caliper bracket bolts come into the front knuckle, and they're kind of hard to get at. You can't really get a regular impact swivel on them. You can get some 3/8 on there, but normally a 3/8 impact's not enough to get them, especially if they're rusted. Half inch are way too big to get in there due to that bolt and nut coming through the strut. And you know, it's really actually hard to get a standard socket and ratchet on them. Normally you got to break them loose with a wrench, and that's not too bad with getting them off. The issue comes with reinstalling them if you're torquing the specification, which everyone should be, getting the torque wrench out and torquing those bolts to specification, especially on brakes. For safety reasons, you don't want to have those bolts back out and have a brake failure. But it was hard to get a torque wrench on there and tighten them accurately. You'd have to get a set of torque adapters. I hold my hand up as if I have one, but I don't. It's basically a cut down wrench with a square drive that goes on the end of your torque wrench, and you've got to adjust for the length of it, and there's some math involved unless you have a digital tech angle torque wrench from Snap-on like I do, and you can just set the head length of that torque adapter and it'll automatically calibrate. But I'm getting off subject now. Back to this tool. So the BTCS1, if you're curious, list price on it from Snap-on right now at the time of making this video is $51.50. Some of you are probably thinking, well, who the heck wants to pay 50-something dollars for a socket that only takes off brake caliper bracket bolts? This is mainly targeted for Subaru technicians, guys that are doing several brake jobs a day or several a week. It makes your life much, much easier, especially when you've got some rusty vehicles like most Subarus are. Unless you're like me and in the South and get to work on lots of nice rust-free vehicles and don't have to torch, drill, and cut nearly every fastener off of the vehicle. But that said, even with Southern cars, these things can be a pain to get off even when they're not rusted. So having this socket is going to be a great, great thing. I've been waiting on this socket for a little over a year now. Subaru, Snap-on, has been advertising it in flyers and other other print material for, like I said, about a year now, and they've just not had them in stock. I don't know what the deal was with that. Well, they would advertise a new tool they didn't have in stock or wasn't ready to ship out, but Snap-on does silly things sometimes. So we're gonna go over to one of these parts cars, and we are going to demonstrate this. Also gonna show you why this is an advantage compared to a 3/8 half-inch traditional swivel socket, a regular socket and ratchet, and a wrench. So that said, let's go ahead and get one of these cars jacked up, get the wheels off the front, and knock some brake caliper bolts out. All right, guys, before you try to accuse me of picking one of the cream puffs, check out that CV axle and nut. Fused as one solid piece. This is a prime rusty example. This is a 2002 or 2003 Outback LLB VDC model. All right, guys, hopefully you'll be able to see this. It's a little hard to get the camera in here and at a good angle to show the brake caliper bracket bolts, but we got the top one here and the bottom one is out of frame. The top one's really the most difficult one and really the reason for the invention of this socket. First off, we're going to put a half-inch drive 17 shallow impact swivel on our half-inch Milwaukee. And as you see, we can't get it on there. We're contacting that lower strut bolt. We're at kind of an angle. You I have had luck in the past with the 3/8 getting them on here, but you risk rounding off and damaging the head of that brake caliper bracket bolt. I've also seen them come in, rounded off from others doing that. Now we're gonna look at, this is a Matco 3/8 swivel impact. And as you see, we can get it on there all the way, but we're still touching that lower strut bolt. And the deal is we can break the bolt loose, but as soon as it backs out any, it wedges and pins itself against that bolt, and then you're stuck and can't get your socket back off. You gotta then run the bolt back in, reverse the impact, take it off, and then take it off by hand. You can break them loose that way if you've got a strong enough 3/8. This is the mid-torque 3/8 Milwaukee with 600 foot-pounds. So normally that gun's capable of doing it, but again, it won't take the bolt completely out. You'll come out, contact that, and then have to back in with it, remove it, and then remove it by hand with a wrench or a ratchet. So another pain to work with. So now the other option, this is a shallow 3/8 snap-on chrome socket and an FL80 a 3/8 ratchet. So we're gonna put this in here, and as you see, we can't get it squarely on the fastener either due to the fact that that lower strut bolt is in the way. So that's a no-go as well. The chrome universal sockets, I believe, will clear, but any of us that have worked with those know how aggravating those things are. They start to bind up and pin around, and you just get stuck trying to work them at any kind of angle other than basically straight. So this is the tried and true method that I've had to use for years. As I said at the beginning of the video, is throw a 17 mil wrench on there, break her loose, and run her in by hand, and then tighten her back up with the wrench. The issue with that is, one, you can't put the proper torque on it with the wrench, and sometimes with this rusty one, they are stuck on there really, really good, so you don't have enough leverage. You either got to double wrench it, or you got to go get a long handle double offset, or a zero offset wrench, I mean. And sometimes you still don't have enough oomph to break them loose. And yeah, it's just a pain, and it's slow. And if we can implore a power tool, why wouldn't we? So now we're going to look at the new snap-on BTCS1. And as you see, it slides right on there. Our long, narrow shaft clears that bolt, and we've got plenty of room back here to attach our 1/2 inch impact. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and do that. We're gonna put our Milwaukee high torque 1/2 inch on here and whip this puppy out. No problem whatsoever, took it completely out. And as you can see, lots of rust on those threads. Been a while since this has been taken out. So now I'm gonna put it back in. And now that we've seen it break loose with that, we're gonna try the other methods I showed you and show you exactly how they fail, each one of them. Look at all the rust chunks flying off of that. All right. So we're gonna go to our standard shallow 1/2 inch 17 and our 1/2 inch impact. As we saw before, we can't squarely get it on there. And we strip off, jump off, and we end up wallering our socket and damaging the edges, the flats of that bolt. So no good on that front. Let's go to our 3/8 swivel impact socket. We can get it on there flushly. But see, we can't break it loose. Even with the 600 foot-pounds of breakaway, most of the time a 3/8 gun is not gonna be strong enough to take these loose. You need a big breaker bar, a long handle wrench, lots of leverage, or a 1/2 inch gun. And as you see, we took that out with the 1/2, ran it back in with the 1/2, and now our 3/8 can't get it out with a fully charged 8.0 battery. So we're not at any kind of disadvantage with this gun. It's just not enough power. So to the hand-driven socket, again, we can't get it on there. It's that angle we're hitting. And then back to our old trusty combo wrench, our Mac Precision Torque in this case. Moving the whole car and cannot budge this bolt. So yeah, pain. Especially in your hands and in your knuckles when that finally breaks loose and you go flying across the shop. And back to our new Snap-on BTCS1. Again, out with no issue. And in with no issue. And if you want to put your torque wrench on there, 1/2-inch drive torque wrench, torquer to spec, you very well can. And you have plenty of room back here, so yeah. Good job, Snap-on, real lifesaver for Subaru techs and Subaru enthusiasts that work on their own vehicles. I don't know if this would be something I'd recommend you DIYers or enthusiasts to purchase. Definitely if you're a Subaru tech or an independent Subaru mechanic, you know, it's definitely worth the money to save that time, especially on these rusty cars. Well, guys and gals, that'll do it for the video. I'm filming on my phone because it is raining. If you didn't notice at the beginning, the dark clouds and the thunder rolling in the background. I've been fighting thunderstorms basically every afternoon, which common here in the South during the summertime, but got it filmed. I don't want to get my Canon 6D out in this because it's not water resistant, and I don't want to fright. My Note 10 is, so we'll close out the video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.